The latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 16, Episode 9 just aired, and we're about to get into the various looks that the queens served us on the runway this episode. Now for this week, it was another design challenge, and the runway category was tagged See You Next Wednesday, where the queens were expected to make from scratch gothy inspired looks, and today we will be ranking these looks from the bottom look to the top look. But before we get right into the ranking, I'd like to hear from you guys first. Rank the queens in the comment section from the last look to the first look, and let's see if we end up matching at the ending of this video. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Coming in dead last in 8th place, why sell blood when you can sell plasma? We have our resident theatre queen, Miss Plasma, and for her gothy inspired runway look, she had on this black and white printed top and this super textured pants, and she had paired that with a fringy over jacket. And for this, I honestly wasn't living for this or loving it at all. Now, we can all agree that Plasma is a super talented queen, and on the show, her aesthetic was very vintage and retro. So for the life of me, I really could not understand why she lets other people get into her head to make her second guess herself. Now, I feel like this look was a definition of her trying to be very different and not really succeeding at that. The overall construction of this look is just a bit questionable to me. From that pattern top that I think was very ill-fitting, to that fringy jacket moment, to the shoes, to the neck piece, and even the hair, I just think that it did not really hit the mark for me. Now, the only thing that I maybe loved in the overall ensemble was the pants, and because it was very super textured. Overall, Plasma should have never thought of reinventing the wheel because the wheel was just fine. So yeah, this look takes number 8 in the ranking. In 7th place, she doesn't set the bar, she flips it. We have the fliptastic Maya Iman LePage, and for her gothy themed runway look, she had on this latex and lace long black dress that was partly made by her and partly made by Saphira Crystal. And was I really gagging about this outfit? I don't think so. Now this, for all we know, is a black dress with different fabric textures. It's a latex to the front and that sort of like lacy mesh fabric to the back. And while I can really appreciate that this look had some potential to be great, certain construction and styling choices just is a no-no for me. First of all, I really have to ask, why did she have the entire lacy detail behind the dress and now went ahead to really cover all of that detail with this really long hair? It just did not make sense to me because that part was really supposed to be the wow moment of the dress. Also, I really did not love her neckline of the dress because it was just so far up that it made her ultimately look neckless. And for someone with her body type, she should have created a dress with a more flattering neckline. Maybe a V-shaped or a deep plunging neckline would have definitely sufficed. So yeah, overall, this wasn't my favorite thing on the runway, and therefore it's number 7 in the ranking. In 6th place, she is the absolute miscongeniality of the season. I'm just kidding. We have the super shady Plain Jane, and for her gothy inspired runway look, she had on this black two-piece fringy moment made by herself, and this was just alright to me. Now this was a very safe and middle of the road look for me, and this is just because this was a design challenge and I really expected more from the overall look. Now don't get me wrong, is this a beautifully constructed and handcrafted look by Plain Jane? It surely is, and I can definitely appreciate the details on this. From that metal and chain work to the overall styling of this with that incredible thigh-high boots, it was all too good. However, when we strip away all of that and all the embellishments, all we have is a top with shoulder pads and some panties, and that in itself is really not gag worthy to me. Now this is giving me very brunch time performance or performance at a bar, and not necessarily giving me a fashion design challenge. You know, especially this time in the competition where, you know, the stakes are getting higher, this was really just not enough for me. So yeah, for this reason, this look gets number 6 on this ranking. In 5th place, we have the Mogiyano Dupree, we have the strikingly gorgeous Morphine Love Dion, and for a gothy themed runway look, she had on this velvet long black dress, and I actually did enjoy this look. And I did not super agree with the judges when they said this look was a bad look, because it was definitely not that. Now, I really love that she actually went for it in terms of like actual construction of the garment, and I also love the fact that she was ambitious with her silhouette. Now, she was going for a very ghostly gothy gothy look, and I overall think she achieved that. However, I wasn't feeling certain design choices in this, ensemble, and that really just hindered the greatness of the overall look for me. Now, for me, I think that the mixing of the velvet with that faux leather fabric was a bit much to me. If she was just keen on mixing textures together, I would have just preferred or loved maybe a more softer fabric at the bottom of the dress to just really create that lush mermaid illusion train detail. Also, I really would have loved, the spikes on the dress to just have been done with that velvet fabric instead of mixing it with the leather. That way it really doesn't look crafty and unfinished. But yeah, overall, this was definitely a fashion challenge she was willing to take on, and this ends number 5 on this rankings. In fourth place, we have the Grand Dame Diva. We have the incredible mother Sapphira Crystal, and for her gothy themed runway presentation, she had on this black and white printed pattern long ball gown that she made herself, and this was not a bad look at all. Now, when it comes to fashion choices and construction, Sapphira definitely has an aesthetic, and I think sticking to that aesthetic was a very wise option. Now, I really love the pattern fabric that she used to create this look. I really thought that was really cool. I mean, that sort of like sharded glass illusion on the fabric just made things very interesting and visually appealing to look at. I also really like the overall construction of the outfit. The details are very intricate, it is grand, and it is fashion, and for me, that works. However, the only thing that I would have probably tweaked around the overall presentation of this was maybe the makeup. That still felt super glam to me, and I just would have loved a little bit more gothy type makeup to just tie everything together. Overall, this was a good look, and it surely deserves a spot on number 4 on the rankings. In third place, we have the incredible Queen of Mars. We have Dawn, and for a gothy themed runway look, she had on this super intricate black gown made by herself, and this was definitely one of the looks that I really thought deserved to be in the top spot today because it was so beautifully done. Now, first of all, even though this look was done in the color black, I really love that she chose the most appropriate types of fabric to sort of mix and match, and I think that she achieved a wonderful mix and match of textures. Also, the intricacies of this dress in itself is just very mesmerizing to me. I mean, that sort of like spiral lift of the garments that really transcended gravity was definitely an innovation in itself, and you know what, I live for it. The headpiece was a nice touch, the hair and makeup, they were on point and very gothy, and I also really love that the signature Dawn elf ears are back. I'm living for that. Overall, this was very beautiful in terms of construction, presentation, and fashion in itself. So yeah, this look takes third spot on the rankings today. In second place, we have our resident banana queen. We have the amazingly gorgeous Nymphaea Wind, and for our gothic themed runway look, she had on this black lacy dress, and this was literally so good that I could literally cry. Now, this one was for sure one of the most impressive creation on the runway tonight, and I definitely have to give her props for that. Now, Nymphaea Wind knows that she is that girl when it comes to garment construction, manipulations, and drapings, and guess what? It definitely shows. Now, for this look, I really love how fashion forward this was. I mean, the mixture of different elements of fabric was done so beautifully to create, some sort of dimension in her look, and it all just works together. I mean, that headpiece, that draped lacy fabric, and the ostrich feather addition, it was just all done to a T, and I lived for it. I honestly didn't mind the headpiece covering her face because that in itself was serving me very mystery, and I just couldn't say no to that. Now, this look would definitely have been ranked as number 1, and the only thing I can nitpick about this look was that it was just too perfect to be goth. And when I think about goth, I often think about very put together but still rough around the edges, and I'm not saying this to kind of like discredit this look, because this look was definitely perfect and it was definitely a close call for me, but I think that factor ultimately just tips the ranking in favor of the look that I'm going to put in number 1, but this look was still stunning regardless, and it ranks as number 2 on the ranking. In first place, and the winner of this week's runway category, she is our favorite letter of the alphabet. We have the super talented Q, and for our gothic inspired runway look, she had on this black and white printed dress code made by her, and honestly, how can you sit there and say this was not perfection on the runway? Now, I know a lot of people are saying that this look was not super gothy because it mainly wasn't made with black fabric, but I beg to differ. This was serving me very punk rock gothy fantasy quality, and I lived for it. Now I really loved how extravagant and larger than life this dress code is. It's giving me very draggy drag, but still retaining that element of fashion that I love. I also really love the details of this dress. I mean, the lining with that contrasting fabric, the ruffles, and the handmade bows. It all just was a well thought out look to me. Also, the styling of this was just so top notch that I really have no choice than to say mother. I mean, that inner net detail, the hair, the makeup, the boots, everything was just so good. Overall, this look ate the girls up on the runway, and it certainly wins the best look of the night. Alright guys, we have come to the ending of today's video. In today's video, I gave you my personal ranking of the looks presented on the latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 16. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a big fat thumbs up. It helps me a lot, and I'd like to hear from you guys in the comment section. How did we do on the rankings today? What would you have changed? Who would you have put at the top? Who would you have put on the bottom? Let me know in the comment section. But yeah, I will see you guys next time. But for now, it is bye guys. Au revoir.